Welcome to the Diva Life Show, where music meets fashion, culture meets travel, and we explore the stories of extraordinary artists and entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Diva Life Show, where music meets fashion, culture meets travel, and we explore the stories of extraordinary artists and entrepreneurs. I'm your host and resident diva, Heather Poduska. Today on the show, we welcome realtor and introvert sales expert, Ashley Harwood. Ashley Harwood is a Boston-based realtor, national speaker, sales trainer, and the author of the new book, Move Over Extroverts: How to Build a Successful Real Estate Career as an Introvert. Ashley was also named one of the top real estate coaches by The Close and Inman. Her specialty is helping her fellow introverts thrive in sales roles. Ashley, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you too. And you are an expert on introversion and sales. And yes. You know, I think people think of sales as being a very extroverted activity, an extrovert a thing that they do because they be bubbly and talk to lots of people. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that that introverts might struggle with that, but you think that introverts can really do really well as sales experts. So tell us a little bit about how you became not only a real estate agent, but an expert in sales and introversion.
Sure. There is this misconception out there that sales roles and entrepreneurship is more geared towards extroverts, and it's just not true. So I got into real estate in 2013, so I've been in the business for a long time, mm-hmm. and I didn't know at first that I was an introvert. I learned that a few years into my career, and once I learned that, I was able to make some significant changes in how I conducted business, how I found new clients, how I managed my schedule, my energy, and my business grew even more. So then later on, I took those lessons and I realized, you know what, if I had these challenges in the beginning, there's probably other people like me. And that's where I started teaching classes and coaching and helping other people. And then I realized that actually most of the top realtors in the world, or at least in our country, and other sales professionals who are at the top of their game, they're actually introverts. Wow. We just don't really talk about that aspect very much.
Yeah. So you said that you didn't really realize that you were an introvert before.
No.
And now probably when you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, of course.
Right. Of course.
So what was the point where you were like, maybe something else is going on here? And how did you figure out that you were an introvert?
I read a book.
Okay.
A book was recommended to me. It's called Quiet. It's by Susan Cain. She has one of the top TED Talks out there still to this day, and it's all about introversion. So I read her book, and I realized that I'm just wired a little bit differently, and I need to bake in that alone time in my schedule to recharge and to bring my best energy back to my clients and to the world. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I read that book, I was like, it was probably the biggest aha moment of my whole life. And it was significant.
Yes, so if someone else is out there and they're like, I think most adults are kind of like, I think I kind of lean this way or this way.
Right.
But if they're not sure, what were some of like the bells that went off when you read the book? You're like, oh, I see myself here. I see myself. What were some specific things that you noticed?
The biggest thing is the fact that being around other people, really in any capacity, for the most part, is draining. It takes energy. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. It just means that I was feeling really tired after. Mm-hmm. So I would go to a networking event, and if it was an evening networking event, there's always the after party, and everyone goes to the bar after, and you're already tired from the day, and then I was just completely wiped out. Yeah. And even the next day, sometimes I'd be wiped out. And some of my colleagues and friends would do the exact same thing, same schedule, same activities, and they'd be all amped up or ready to go. So that's one of the biggest key factors. If somebody's wondering where they fall on this scale, think about how you feel after interacting with people during the day. Mm-hmm. Do you feel more energized, or do you feel a little more drained?
Yeah, and it's specific. Because everybody feels, they've used their energy throughout the day, so people tend to feel more tired at the end of the day. But what you're talking about is really different, right? It's like you can feel more of a drain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you are an introvert and you're like, okay, I'm an introvert, and you're like, oh, well, how do I overcome, or is that the wrong word to say overcome introversion to really be successful in these more extroverted fields? I'm wondering if that's maybe not the right way to say it.
I like to reframe it as how do you use this as a strength?
Yes.
Because there are strengths, and one of the biggest things is going deeper in relationship with fewer people and building. In sales, it's all relationships. So that actually lends itself well to us introverts. We just have to make sure that we're not burning ourselves out every day, trying to have 10 coffee meetings in one day back to back. That's going to be too much.
So do you think that works? So are there different strategies for extroverts and introverts? So having deeper relationships, that sounds like it would be a good thing for everybody.
Yes.
But is it the same strategy for extroverts and introverts, or do you think that they kind of go about it differently?
I think the strategies overall on how to find clients, those are the same across the board, which I know yesterday I taught a webinar on introvert-friendly lead gen strategies.
Oh, okay.
So there are some that are a little bit more suited to one versus the other, but I've met introverts who love going and door knocking, and I've loved to, not many, but I have met some. Wow. I've met some who love cold calling.
Are they really introverts?
They are. They find it less intimidating to talk to strangers than people they already know. So that's all to say that it's very, very individual and very specific. And the biggest difference between introverts and extroverts is their time management and their energy management.
Okay.
So it's, okay, if you like this one activity, that's great, go do it. And it probably is going to involve other people. And so at the end, you're going to feel more drained. So maybe do that activity at a time when you can plan something right afterwards to recharge your energy.
Yeah. I think that recharging is so important in everybody, whether you're extrovert or introvert, whether you're a salesperson or real estate person or anything else, mastering your energy in your, like what I call your sprint time when you're really doing something intensely, and then your recharge time. I think most of us are not great at that, and it's a practice that you have to get into. I mean, because we're runners, and I'm always aware of the weeks that I don't manage, like I don't put enough rest in, and you run like 2 big runs in a row and your legs are like this, but and then you're like, oh, I've got to keep going. But if you take a rest day, your legs are fresher for the next run. Right. So I imagine that same thing across the board there.
It is. It's very universal.
Yeah.
And I actually think that topic is going to be the subject of my next book.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's show everybody the book, How to Build a Successful Real Estate. And I love that you have do all extroverts, is it like a card, if you're going to be an extrovert, the membership card, you have to have a cat? Because I feel like that's a pretty big...
It's pretty common, but no, it's not a requirement.
Yeah. So what inspired you to go from talking about it to being like, I really want to write a book?
Well, I've been teaching classes and coaching other agents and speaking on stages for about 6 years now, 7 years almost. And it was just the right time last year to write the book. It took about a year. It was a process. But I finally had the time, I had the energy to do it. Yeah. And it started to feel more urgent, like I need to get this information out there to a wider audience. So eventually I can see having different versions of the concepts and having different versions of the book for different industries.
Yes. Well, because, I mean, introverts are in every aspect of
every half the population, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was thinking, like, have people come up to you and been like, oh my gosh, thank you for saying this, I didn't. Yeah. What percentage would you say people were like, I didn't know I was an introvert? Or are they like, oh, I know I'm an introvert, I didn't know what to do? I
would say maybe 20%
that come
of
up
every room don't know that they're really an introvert.
Wow.
It's a really high percentage. It's more than you would think.
Wow.
And then there's another 10 to 20% who come up to me and say, I didn't know this about my spouse or my partner.
Oh, wow.
And now I understand them better.
Wow.
So that's really interesting too.
Wow. So when people come up to you and they say, I didn't know, what was the thing that they tell you was like, oh, that was it. When you said this, I knew that I was an introvert.
It's the energy piece. It's the recharging, and also how you process information. Introverts are internal processors versus external. We think, we journal, we have to be quiet. Extroverts have to talk things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much on the extrovert side,
Yeah.
for sure. But I absolutely need time alone.
Yeah.
I need space and time, and I don't want anybody to talk to me. Like, I think everybody needs
Everyone's
both.
a combination of both.
Yeah, but it's really interesting about how you process things and that energy piece. And I think that, people, I think, misconceive what extroversion and introversion is around being shy or not shy.
Right.
So tell us what that means. Talk to us about why that's not really the accurate way to describe it.
Shy is just another attribute. It's like, I'm trying to think of another example, but it's like having brown hair or not. It's just you're shy or you're not. Totally separate from introvert or extrovert, but they do get kind of mushed together.
Yeah, they do.
In society, and there's this, it's another misconception. There are people who are shy extroverts, and they struggle because they need that people energy to recharge. So that's really tough.
Yeah.
And there are what I notice in my industry very often is there are very outgoing social introverts.
Yes.
And that's why so many of us don't realize we're introverts at the beginning, and then we're spending all our energy, and then we're burning ourselves out without realizing it. So I see that a lot.
Yeah, so the difference is how you recharge, how you process information, versus whether or not you're shy or feel nervous around meeting other people.
Correct.
Yeah, because I think I'm an extrovert pretty much, but I also do get shy sometimes. So I've thought, oh, am I an introvert? I don't think so.
No, you might just have moments of shyness, as we all do, and shyness is very situational as well.
Yes. It's so funny too, because you've done a lot of speaking as well.
I have.
And I think a lot of people think, especially if they're introverts, oh, I'm an introvert, I could never speak.
Right.
So, because I have some anecdotes to talk about, but tell us about your experience. Like, what kind of speaking have you done? You're coming up on some really big stages that you're going to be speaking on, right?
Yeah, I've spoken on some pretty significant stages, mostly within the real estate industry, but looking to branch out.
So,
for me,
what's the biggest crowd that you've spoken in front of?
The biggest crowd was about 350 people.
Okay, so that's significant.
Not huge, not thousands. We're not there yet.
But it's a full space.
It's a full room, yeah. And I do feel nervous. I get the butterflies about 60 seconds before I walk up on stage.
Yeah.
And then my first minute or so when I'm getting into the flow. But I really enjoy it because even though I'm speaking to a crowd, it feels very one-on-one, and it's me speaking.
Yes.
And I'm confident in what I'm saying because I wrote it.
Right.
So for me, it's fun, and I love the feedback after. That's my favorite part, is people coming up after and saying, this was impactful for me, and thank you for helping me see this a little bit differently.
And because sometimes I coach people with speaking and on their talks, and I always say, when you are really fired up about your content, when you're focused on, like, I have a message to share, this is important to me, that helps eliminate a lot of the butterflies.
Absolutely.
Because you care about what you're talking about, you care about the audience learning what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I've done it enough times that I know that people will be served and people will be helped. So it doesn't serve anyone for me to be too nervous or to not do it.
No, because then it makes it about you.
Right.
It's about you and your nerves versus like why you're actually there to serve the audience.
Right.
But it's so interesting. What I was going to say is I read about some very famous introverts, and whether people like her or not, a very famous introvert is Hillary Clinton.
A lot of people in politics, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I've heard that from actors as well.
Yes.
Because they get, which makes sense, because that is an internal process.
Very much.
Right? You're like thinking about your own emotions and how this character or how you as the character would describe this, and you're like in it.
Yeah.
But in speaking, politics like Hillary Clinton or whoever the other politicians are that are introverted, and your experience speaking, it's a kind of a misconception, but it's 1-to-1 because you are speaking to one audience.
Yeah.
You're not giving your talk to like a little group over here and a little group over here. And I have that with singing too. Like when I could sing in front of 10,000 people and not really get affected by it. Yeah. But if I have a room of 5 people, I'm like, oh my God, they're right there.
Right.
You know? Especially if it's family, I'm like, oh, you know.
There is some helpful distance that's created when you're on a stage. Yeah.
So do you have any tips for people who want to speak and they're like, I'm nervous or I'm introverted? What would you say are like things that have really helped you aside from just getting really comfortable with your content?
The content piece is huge. I would also say to separate how you feel about being on a stage versus being an introvert. They're 2 different things.
Say more about that.
So being an introvert only means that if you're at the after party after the convention, it's going to be tiring, and that's okay, and you go take a nap after. But it has nothing to do with how comfortable you feel on a stage. You have to know your content, you have to want to do it, and then you have to practice and do it. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel, the easier it gets, and keep the audience in mind. Like we said, what is the message and who needs to hear it? And is them hearing the message more important than you feeling too nervous to do it?
So we've already talked about but what would you say your core message is, and what is it that you really want to accomplish with the book and with the speaking?
I want people to really understand what introversion is, that it's not being shy and it's not liking people. And I want to really encourage and empower every entrepreneur in real estate and beyond that no matter what your personality is, if you want to be a successful business owner, you can be. And you already have all the tools. It just might look a little bit different from the person next to you.
And do you have any advice for introverts who they're like, okay, I'm going to take control of my career, my energy, and I am in this environment where extroversion is sort of considered better.
Yeah, it's praised.
What advice would you have for those introverts about sort of maintaining their confidence to create the situation that they need? Because you have to set, no matter what your industry is or what your energy type is, you have to take care of yourself and your boundaries, and that might not always be popular.
Right.
So what would you say to someone who maybe is in an environment and they're like, I want to do this, but I don't know what everybody's going to think about it?
Try your best not to care.
So how do you try not to care?
Try not to care. Just do it anyway. Do it anyway, and then when you start seeing the results, then that builds the confidence.
So what would be like one small thing someone could do to like set a boundary at their work?
Maybe don't tell people what you're doing.
Okay.
And just do it. Especially if you're in a business like real estate where everyone's an independent contractor and you can just do your thing. Or if it's not helpful to be around other people, don't go into the office.
Oh. So what would that look like of not going into the office?
That would be, and again, this is only if you don't have a boss and you can get away with not being in the office.
Well, that's why I was asking, like, what does that look like?
It looks like working from home, work from a coffee shop, work from somewhere else, like a library or something. And just, well, first you make your business plan, and I do help people with that in my coaching. But figure out what you're going to do and how it's going to work. Make it very strategic, and then just do it. You don't have to tell people. You don't have to run it by anyone. Just do the plan.
I love that. I love that. And you have to, and I talk about this in some of my coaching programs about how important it is to have your team and to surround yourself with the right people. Because, and I say this a lot, you can be the most beautiful palm tree, but if someone plants you in Siberia, it's going to be a lot harder to grow.
Yeah.
So what have you found helpful in vetting your community and your people around you?
I don't know. I feel like I have a good sense of people right away, very quickly. I have good intuition. So tapping into that intuition has been helpful. And I do keep people at a distance. a little bit, and that's been helpful for my boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I don't really ask people's opinions on things.
That's a power move, Ashley.
Yeah.
That is such a power move, especially as women. Where, you know, like, I don't know. I think it's a little bit, because we want to ask our girlfriends, what do you think about? What do you think of my hair? What do you think of this outfit? Like, we're always asking people's opinions, and not to ask people's opinion, I think, is like, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah. I stopped doing that a while ago, except for, you know, I'll run things by my boyfriend, my partner. Of course, I want his opinion. But he's a safe space. I know he's always going to be positive and supporting and give me good feedback. And I'll ask my community occasionally for things if they, you know, what do you guys want to see? What would be more helpful? I ask questions like that. But in terms of, I'll give you an example. I just created a new in-person event that I'm doing next month.
Okay.
And I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't run it by anyone. I just made the Eventbrite and made it live, and the email went out to my list this morning.
That's awesome.
And people have already started buying tickets. So it's like, it's kind of a waste of energy for me to ask people's opinions unless I really, really need it for a specific reason.
But I just think that's so powerful, and it's powerful for anybody. And I can also see for introversion, for everybody really, but for, you know, what you said, it's like saves your energy because you don't have these, you don't have to process the other opinions.
Right. It prevents overthinking too.
Yes. I love that. I love that. So one of the things, I mean, because we've known each other for a while now.
Yeah, a long time.
And you've worked really hard on your brand, on how you show up, your book. I follow you on social media. And, you know, full transparency, we've worked together before. And the thing that I admire about you is kind of what you said. Like, I remember when we first worked together, we had met briefly a while back, and then out of the blue, I get a call. I'm ready to work with you. You just knew, like, yeah, I imagine you didn't, like, you know, ask 1,000 people what you should do. You're just like, I knew. So you are very proactive about building your brand. So can you talk a little bit about what that process was like for you in general, and how working on your brand has helped your path as an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, you get all the credit because you helped me build this brand from scratch.
Thank you.
And it was a big investment for me at the time, starting this business. And it was such a good move because it made everything easier. Everything I create, even this event that I made the graphic for yesterday, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I have my brand colors, I have my fonts, I have my photos. It's all just there. And I know we worked on my core message too, and that's still the core message of everything that I do. So it really it feels like it fast tracks everything, and it also creates trust with my audience because they know what to expect.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things when I work with people that I love doing is, someone said it once after we'd worked together, they said, oh, now I understand the why behind the why. And getting to that really core message, it doesn't really change because it's so basic to who you are and what you believe. And when you can get to that point, then it can show up in different iterations. You, just like you said, you can do a live event, you can write a book, you can give a talk, but when you understand the core message, then you're not reinventing reinventing the wheel over and over and over again. Right.
It's just putting it in different mediums because everyone will digest information differently.
Yeah. And talk to us a little bit, because we did a photo shoot together, and I mean, you're such a beautiful woman anyway, but your pictures, I was like, oh my God, these are incredible.
I love them.
And that was a while ago that we did that.
It was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I want to say 6 years, but maybe 5. And I've used them ever since.
Well, they're gorgeous pictures. So can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like, of going through the process of, you know, figuring out how you wanted to show up in your pictures?
It was hard.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
I had no idea. I'd never done that before.
Okay.
I had no idea. I mean, I'd gotten basic headshots, but I had never really thought about what should I wear? What should the colors be, and the fabrics and the environment? The environment was huge, and that took a while to find the right venue that had the background that we wanted. And we ended up finding this amazing venue with different backgrounds and very lush textures, and it just worked well. And I had your guidance, but I couldn't have done it on my own.
Well, it's so funny because you actually took the lead in some of those things. You can't, like, we talked about it so you knew what you wanted, what you were looking for, but then you're like, hey, I have a space I found. So you knew what kind of space to look for.
Right.
And same with the clothes. I mean, you didn't actually go out and buy a whole new wardrobe to do the photo shoot.
I didn't. I went shopping to see if I wanted. I was open to buying something new, but then I ended up shopping my closet, and it worked well.
Oh my God! And they were go look at these pictures. They're so beautiful. And one of the things that I really loved about it, and what I love about doing that work, is really, really, really communicating who you are and what's unique about you. And I loved that there was one kind of by a fireplace with that book, the quiet book, and your glasses, but you also had on like this chic outfit. It just was like everything. It was everything together. So in your industry, in real estate and other industries, how you show up is so important. So what would you say to other entrepreneurs, realtors, about the importance of how they show up, in their appearance, with their message? Like, what would you say to other people about that?
I would say figure out what is most comfortable and feels most authentic to you. We've kind of, at least the real estate industry has kind of gotten away from everyone needing to fit into a box with their appearance, their wardrobe. Certainly this varies a little bit throughout the country, but in general, people are more open to their agent being more casual or having tattoos showing or whatever. And they're going to resonate with you as a person. And so your brand should just be an extension of you. So my advice would be to not worry about what it should be. Just figure out what feels best for you and own it. I
love that. And I mean, a really good brand is the most authentic brand anyway. And, a lot of branding is, I hesitate to say this, but it's true, is polishing that. It's not changing the core of who you are. Right. It's polishing it and making it streamlining, bringing it together so that it's communicating what you want to communicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. So you're kind of a rising star in not only in real estate, but especially as a speaker and as an expert in introverts. So I always ask people, because I said the word star, but this is the Diva Life show. So I always want people, especially women, to reconsider what it means to be a diva. Okay. And since you're an introvert, and not like the big jazz hands look at me all the time, what does that mean to you? What does diva mean to you, and how do you feel when you hear that word?
To me, I think it means confidence and just being very secure in who you are and not worrying about what people think. I sound so harsh, but I really just
it doesn't sound harsh to me.
Don't have the energy for it. I just need to do what I want and not care.
That is such an introvert diva thing. I don't have the energy for it. I don't have the energy to care. I love it. But it's so interesting to hear you talk about it, because you have your energy and you have a quieter energy, and you said the exact same thing that some of the people who've come on here with more extroverted energy have also said. It's like doing you, being authentic, not caring what other people think, and just getting it done. That's the point. Well, I am so excited that you are here on the Diva Life show. You are such a shining light in what you do, and what you do is so important so that people can understand who they are and how they best operate to achieve their biggest goals. So that's huge. Thank you so much for sharing your voice and for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And as always, to all of you, thank you for joining us. And until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.